What is up, producers? Joshua Casper back at you with Plugin Boutique, and today we're taking a quick look at the brand new WA production plugin called Heat, which is made in collaboration with a producer called 22Bullets. A couple of caveats about Heat, and when you grab it from pluginboutique.com, not only is this in collaboration with 22Bullets, who is an incredible producer in his own rights, done collaborations with Freddie LeGrand, Timmy Trumpet, and others, but you'll also get a remix pack, essentially a 2 GB sample pack from 22Bullets himself inside of the download file when you grab Heat on pluginboutique.com. You get stems, you get loops, you get patches, you get synth patches and MIDI. It's just a massive sample pack on top of the Heat plugin, which is absolutely fantastic. And that's what we're going to check out today in this video. So let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so this is Heat on the screen. Obviously, the producer here is 22Bullets, and we've got the chamber of a revolver here on the screen. It's set up like this. The signal comes here up at the top, and if you cut it down the line here, we've got one distortion channel over here and a second one over here. And we can actually mix and match them by revolving the revolver or the chamber. I don't know what this is actually called. I need to spruce up on my gun knowledge, but as I move this, you'll see that the blend parameter is moving from, 100% to the right, 100% to the left, or 50-50 or anywhere in between the split of the two. Now, a really cool thing about Heat, on top of the fact that you've got 2 distortion channels, I've said it before, I'll say it again, don't sleep on saturation. It's what makes the music go round. It actually shows you visually the mix, because as you can see, there's no way for me to tell really when I have the mix to the left or to the right, but when I play the audio,
I see the light in your heart.
you can see that over to the right, or the right channel, is like an orange color, and over to the left is a yellow color. Now, not only does it change in size as I mix between the blend of the 2 distortions, but it will get bigger depending on how much drive and distortion is actually being added to the audio as well. So it's just a good visual cue that's not only there to look pretty, but actually gives you information that's important when you're using the plugin. So the way I like to do things, if you're new to the channel, is whenever I have a saturation and distortion plugin, I throw it on a clean sine wave to hear what it does and what it adds by way of character to the upper frequency content. And then I'll have a good idea of what it's going to do when I add it to more complex waveforms like drums or vocals. Now, I've already got a pretty clean sub here. It's not exactly a clean sine wave. And I'm just gonna go ahead and bypass Heat. By the way, this is a no-click bypass button, the logo down here. And this is the sub that I have in the project. And if I go ahead and turn Heat on, I do have a sidechain compressor. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off just for now. So it's a really night and day there. It's adding a bunch of really crispy grittiness to that sub, which I think really works well in the project I'm working on. What I'm going to do so we can really hear the character of each one of the 10 distortion algorithms is I'm going to go ahead and just completely put Heat to one channel. I'm going to put the mix up to 100%. I'm going to completely open the filter. Each one of the channels has its own low pass and high pass filter. If I want to roll off the highs, I can do that here. If I want to roll off the lows, I can do that here. I'm going to keep it completely open so you can really hear the full character that's being added. And let's go ahead and listen. I'm going to go ahead and boost up the drive to 100%. All right, so those are the 10 algorithms on a pretty clean, subby bass line. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was flipping through them like that, I liked Uzi and AK-47 the most. Obviously, I'd roll back on the mix. I'd turn down the drive a little bit. I might do some further filtering. This is actually a good tip to know whenever you're using an effect. This is the way I always do it, is I go 100% and then roll back. So that's kind of like the second tip I can give you about working with saturation and distortion. It's really good to overdo it and then roll back on it, then just kind of add it a little bit at a time. I don't know, it depends on you and your workflow, but that's just the way I like to do it. So what I might do is choose AK-47 here. So if I filter it out like that, I don't have any of my sub left. And that's what the mix knob here would do, is I'd want to turn this down and just essentially add that extra bit to just that frequency range that I've selected with the filter. So it's a very subtle saturation there. I might open up that filter a little bit more. And then what I would do is take the barrel of the gun here, or the holster, or again, I don't know what it's called, the revolver. I know it's from a revolver pistol. But then I would do the same thing, as I'd come in again, really open up my filters, turn my drive all the way up, turn my mix all the way back up, and decide what I want to add to this side. So if I do that, roll back on the mix, and then mix or blend between the two distortions, and on top of all of that, I can actually get more distortion by pushing the gain control for each one of the distortion lines. I can also just increase the gain into the plugin itself. And if I do that, go into the positive values, I might want to turn down the output, but it will just affect the distortion that happens from the algorithms inside. So there you go. That's essentially how to get started using Heat. It's really, really great on bass, obviously, but let's check it out on some drums. Okay, so this is on the drum channel. It is a resizable GUI, which is always fantastic. These are my drums. All right, so they're already pretty crunchy, but let's go ahead and choose the distorted drum preset here. Yeah, so I'm liking that. It's more crunchy. It's going to stand out better in the mix, but I might roll off the ultra high frequencies here. And if we listen to that in the context of the track,
I see the light in your heart.
it just sounds better. Now, obviously, what we could do is the same thing we did with the bass. And again, I highly recommend you do this. Turn that drive all the way up, open up that filter all the way, put the mix, you might even leave it around 50%, do some parallel processing, and then listen to the different algorithms, see which one sounds great at, that processed, and then just start to roll back and dial in your filter ranges and your drive amounts. Let's go ahead and solo that. Okay, so I'm a big fan of this one, the Gatling gun, the Gatling preset, on especially that kick drum. You just hear it's hitting harder, it's got more frequency content, it sounds fuller, and in the mix,
I see the light in your heart. Hypnotizing. I'm diving into your light.
it's just more pronounced, which is exactly what we're looking for. I might roll back a little bit more on it. It's a little bit too aggressive for me, but for the most part, that's exactly what I'm looking for when I add that sort of thing to my drums. And finally, let's check it out on some vocals. I'm going to come in here to the distorted vocals preset. Again, vocals.
I'm very, that daisy for you. I'm very,
So that's definitely distorted vocals. But again, I would roll way back on the mix.
I'm very, that daisy for you. So tasty, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds better, especially again when you play it in context to the track. That's what saturation is. That's why it's my favorite effect. It makes everything sound better. Anyway, Heat is available now on pluginboutique.com. As I said, not only do you get the plugin, but you get a 2 GB sample packs from 22Bullets on top of that, and I highly suggest you check it out. Click the link in the video description. I'm Joshua Casper, and I'll see you in the next video.
I see the light in your heart.